Hey, what is up? Welcome to episode 48 of Player Life. Um, it is Thursday, the 21st of January. And actually, I think this is technically episode 49. However, I just realized today that YouTube didn't upload. I think it was, how was it? One of the episodes. It was episode. Oh, which one was it? The one I did on. Women get what they want and they hate it on the 19th. I don't know why. Usually you get some kind of email or some kind of notification, but they just didn't upload it. I don't know. I live streamed it and it went through, but I don't know why it's not on my. I can't see it on my stream. They're such snakes. I don't know. YouTube is so snaky. I'm gonna probably get have to go over to another platform or something, because I mean if this channel was bigger, I'd say I'd be deleted immediately. If I had more followers or more, subscribers, this channel would get deleted. I don't see, it's just I'm kind of flying under the radar, even though I'm not. Even though this is only a small channel, I have like 300 followers, 300 subscribers. Still kind of getting videos shadow banned and blocked. Yeah, and it's really sneaky. They're not even telling me why or anything like that. Like I said before, they've told me taking videos down, and they've told me why, or they've told me this has gone against community guidelines, and then whatever. Javier in the house says this looks like a very interesting topic. Yeah, it is an interesting topic. All right, I was watching the documentary last night on Netflix called Night Stalker. It was about a serial killer in America, Richard Ramirez. I think it was he was in the 70s or 80s, sometime around then. But it wasn't until the end where he was caught, and they started talking about how females were infatuated with him, and he would receive a lot of love letters and erotic pictures of not just a few. It's not the case that it's just a few women that engage in this. This is a thing. So it's called Hybristophilia. That's the word. There's an actual word for it, where women are attracted to violent killers and dangerous psychopaths and criminals. And this is just a thing. So I don't think there's a male equivalent. I don't think males are attracted to female serial killers or anything like that. I'm not going to deny if there was a female serial killer and she was hot, I'm sure I'm sure guys would still. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there that would still fuck her, but that's not what the attraction is. The attraction is that she's hot. But with women, it's like they're actually attracted to the danger element, and that's kind of interesting to look at that, because obviously I'm not saying that guys should become dangerous psychopaths and serial killers to get laid, to get some pussy, but it's kind of good to know, it gives you an insight into female psychology. Troy Francis talks about the dark triads and how some guys kind of need to delve more into the dark side of their personality because they're too nice. And obviously, you shouldn't go too far, but for the guys that are blue pilled and too nice, then they need to behave in more of a selfish way, I guess. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. It's just I knew of it. I had heard of it. I had heard of this phenomenon, but before it wasn't. But it just reminded me last night that it exists, and it's like it's a whole thing. Javier says, getting my knives tonight. Going to some extreme lengths to get some pussy, but yeah, it's obviously not something you should do, but like I said, it gives you an insight into female psychology, and it's not that I'm not like completely autistic where I think every female is attracted to serial killers. Obviously not. Humans exist on a spectrum, but so there's more females towards being attracted to dangerous guys. It has been well documented where women are obviously attracted to powerful alpha strong men, and society the society tells us the opposite, and a lot of guys buy into that. They buy into the blue pill narrative where girls like nice guys, guys that'll bend a knee, and guys that'll give women anything they want, when in fact it's the opposite. Women like strong, powerful men. But yeah, so it's an interesting documentary, Night Stalker. But it was only in the last episode. I binge watched it. I don't really watch Netflix, but someone recommended it to me, said it was interesting. Javier says, men with a propensity for violence, as Rolo says. Exactly, yeah. And it's not just the crazy girls that are attracted to serial killers, violent guys or serial killers or whatever, or criminals. It's like opposites attract. So oftentimes it will, the girl will be very, I don't want to say innocent, but basically the girl is so far from being a serial killer or a psychopath, but because they're not, they're kind of attracted to it. I can kind of relate to this, in one. I remember I had an example of this happen to me in real life, and I'm definitely not a serial killer or psychopath, but there was one time where I got in a fight, and there was I beat this guy up. It was a brawl, basically like a bar brawl or whatever, and there was girls that saw me fight that had never. This was way back when I was way younger. I don't, I'm not. Anyway, so it was in college. I was around 21 or whatever, and it was a I was in college at the time, and there was girls that had never really paid me any attention before they saw me, get in a fight, and I won the fight. So it wasn't a very long fight. It was, there was some punches thrown. I won the fight. It wasn't that big a deal, but I just got so much female attention after off these girls that saw the fight, and even girls that didn't even see the fight, girls that heard I was in a fight, word of mouth. I was getting like a lot of female attention. Like girls were like, like coming up to me, flirting with me, and it was really like eye-opening. It's yeah, I remember I saw some clip on YouTube of, it was like it was some ex mob member, and he's talking about his past, and he was talking about one time where he like almost like he was talking about how he was beating a guy. Someone made a comment, someone made a move on his woman, and he beat this guy. I don't know. He described it like he bet him to death, and he was with his woman, and he said instead of like being disgusted at his behavior, she was incredibly attracted to it. She was really turned on by it. So I'm not a violent person at all, but I just have that one experience where I remember I did get in a fight, and I won the fight, and I got a lot of female attention out of it, and it was kind of eye-opening. The females are attracted to that, to violence, basically, or men with the potential for violence. Know your worth in the house. Starting out the day over here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yes. So it's just something to keep in mind. I mean, but yeah, let's maybe watch some videos on it. Let me share the screen. Yes. Okay. All right.
He's 25. She's attractive. And she raises a question. 25. She's attractive.
All right. That's not the one I wanted to share. Why women fall? Change that. All right. This is the one.
You have ever wondered why on earth women would fall in love with an incarcerated serial killer and the psychology behind this? Well, gather round and I'll explain it all. First, we will take a look at serial killer Richard Ramirez, who became known as the Night Stalker after he terrorized those who lived in Greater Los Angeles and San Francisco in the mid-1980s. Ramirez would use a variety of weapons, including a .22 revolver, knives, machetes, tire irons, hammers, to bludgeon his victims to death, often after he had sexually assaulted them. In his own sinister words, he revealed, "I love to kill people. I love to watch them die. I would shoot them in the head and they would squirm all over the place and then just stop. Or I would cut them with a knife and watch their faces turn white. I love all that blood." Despite his list of convictions that amounted to 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, and 14 counts of burglary, he still managed to attract many female admirers. During his trial, when evidence of these violent attacks on women were being read out loud, one juror, Cindy Hayden, had started to fall in love with the sadistic serial killer. Ramirez, aware of this power that he had over her, would make eye contact throughout the trial, and on Valentine's Day, she gifted him a cupcake with a message, "I love you," iced on top. Shortly after, she was dismissed from jury duty. Following his sentencing in court, which was the death penalty, Cindy continued to visit Ramirez behind bars. Eventually, she even introduced her parents to the serial killer. However, for her, she was just another face in a long queue of female admirers, all waiting to share a tender moment with the devout Satanist.
So, it's she even says, it was a long queue. It's not just one or two crazy women. This is a phenomenon where actually like hundreds of women become infatuated. So this is, when I was watching the documentary, the cop that actually arrested this guy, really sick motherfucker, really. Like, so obviously he was in the media. It was kind of a big story. So there was a big crowd of people outside wherever he was arrested, and when he was being moved from location to location, there would be female groupies on the street, and the cop said one time, like, some females would like flash their tits at him, and that was just what was actually happening. So it's really kind of messed up, but this is the reality of female nature, and it'll serve you well to know about it. Let's continue.
According to the San Francisco Gate, during his 23 years on death row, he received bags upon bags of mail, mostly from women. So what is hybristophilia? Becoming infatuated.
Bags upon bags of mail. So obviously, if there's bags of mail, this is like possibly thousands of letters. It's not just a few crazy women, and a lot of these women probably aren't crazy. That's just in their nature.
With someone who has committed a serious crime, such as sexual assault or murder, is known as hybristophilia. It is one of the reasons behind the thousands of letters sent to serial killers from their admirers each year. In popular culture, it is also known as Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. There are many reasons behind this disorder. Professor of forensic psychology Catherine Ramsland reveals that women who have dated serial killers, like in the case of Richard Ramirez, even gone as far as marrying him, do so for the following reasons. They believe they can change.
Okay, so, some woman actually went and married this guy. This guy was like as sick as they come. Like, this guy was real sick guy. This guy didn't just murder people. Like, he tortured them. He fornicated with them. He raped people. He raped children in front of their parents, and then killed their parents, or killed the children in front of their parents. He did like the worst things that you could possibly do, like, to a human, like slowly torturing them, like skinning them alive, cutting them up while they're alive. He did this, like, and he did it to kids as well. And there's like thousands of women that were in love with the guy. So it's and it's so funny. Like, it's like this is why female nature. I'm not like I said, I'm not like so autistic to think that, oh, this is all females. No, it's not all females, but it's a proportion of females, and females exist on a spectrum. So there's various kinds. But it's important to remind yourself that when the next time you're afraid to approach a girl to ask for her number, or like hit a cold approach, remember these females. Like, there's a lot of females out there that are attracted to serial killers and psychopaths, and you're there twiddling your thumbs and getting nervous about asking for her number. It's kind of, when you think about it like that.
Change a man as cruel and powerful as a serial killer. They see the little boy that the killer once was and seek to nurture him. They hope to share in the media spotlight or get a book or movie deal.
That's interesting. They hope to share in the media spotlight or get a book or movie deal. So they're they like the attention. They like, they're attracted to. We all know that women are attracted to famous people. Fame and stardom and things like that. So that's not a surprise.
They believe they are dating the perfect boyfriend.
They believe they're dating the perfect boyfriend. Guys that have tortured and killed man, woman, child, animals, whatever, you name it.
They are unable to find love in normal ways, or they seek relationships that cannot traditionally be consummated.
It's interesting when guys like pedestalize women as being, the compassionate sex, and it's like, A lot of women can be just as cruel as men. It's just they're not, oftentimes they're not able to. They're the weaker sex, so they're not able to inflict as much damage. But it's almost worse to be. It's almost worse. It's almost as bad to be, to be compassionate towards someone who is so evil. You're almost in the same category. It's like if your friend, if someone, if someone, attacked you or beat you up or did something really bad to you, and then one of your best friends like was, befriended the person who attacked you. It's kind of, your friend would then be your enemy. So it's kind of like, your friend would almost be as bad as the person who attacked you, for betraying you so badly. It's like women are basically the women that fall in love with these guys are they're the women that are betraying their good men in general. But
Then there also is this distorted idea of the perfect boyfriend. To a woman who has suffered in an abusive relationship in the past, a convicted criminal behind bars makes for an ideal partner. Allow me to explain. She knows where he is at all times. She knows, or at least believes, he is thinking about her because, well, he has a lot of hours in the day that he needs to fill doing not much else. While she can claim that he loves her, she does not have to endure the day-to-day issues involved in a traditional relationship, such as there's no laundry to do or cooking for him, and no accountability to him. So she can keep that fantasy charged up for a long time. Sheila Eisenberg, author of Women Who Love Men Who Kill, explained, if the guy is behind bars, it is always exciting. It is easier to get a date or attention from a serial killer than, say, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, for example, he's going to ignore your letters. He's not going to write back, but this guy is. He's probably reading his letters and responding to you because it puffs him up. It raises his status in his own eyes. So let's take a look at the marriage of Richard Ramirez and Doreen Loy. Doreen was a freelance teenage magazine writer and a self-described Catholic virgin from San Rafael. She became obsessed with Ramirez and in total had penned the serial killer 75 letters before he finally agreed to meet her behind bars. Doreen told the LA Times how she initially fell for Ramirez. She recalled, this was a feeling that began for as long ago as the night before he was arrested, and police broke into the television show I was watching to broadcast his picture. Looking back, I see it was a turning point for me. He shows this mugshot in the middle of Dallas, and I saw something in his eyes, something that captivated me. It wasn't as if I knew him, but it was something in his eyes, maybe a vulnerability, I don't really know. On October 3rd, 1996, they were married in California's San Quentin State Prison. Despite Doreen stating that she would commit suicide when Ramirez was executed, they eventually decided to divorce as she discovered he had 12 other girlfriends on the go. Who would have...
So he had 12 other girlfriends on the go. Obviously, she's not a looker, but, it's just... It's still, he had 12 other chicks on the go. And if you watch the documentary Night Stalker, they show some of the photos he got. There's some hot girls, a lot of them are young girls too. I don't know why he picked her. But,
Before a serial killer would be cruel enough to cheat on his own wife. Doreen also revealed that she found the marriage lonely because her husband was unable to be beside her and she was unable to reach him the majority of the time. That's because he's on death row as an incarcerated serial killer, Doreen. So remember, people, please at all times, don't be a Doreen, as it can have fatal results.
Don't be a Doreen. Don't be a Doreen, I mean, there you go. There goes the, women's irrationality, where they, she's complaining about her serial killer husband cheating on her. So she expects, her serial killer husband to have some kind of morals. This goes to show the irrationality of female nature. You know.
Serial killer Philip Carl Jablonski was convicted of brutally murdering 5 female victims between 1978 and 1991. Jablonski was a serial killer and a sadist. He preyed on women. He previously had attempted to suffocate his first wife, and he murdered the mother of his own daughter. He was sentenced to only 12 years behind bars, and despite his history of violent crimes, he met Carol Spadoni when she responded to a Lonely Hearts ad for prisoners. They first became pen pals, and following his release, they moved in together. 1 year later, both Carol and her mother were murdered by Jablonski. He is currently now on death row for these crimes. Well, if you watch this video to find an explanation for hybristophilia, I hope that answered that for you. And if you watch the video to find out if writing love letters to serial killers is a wise thing to do, I hope we answered that for you too. Thanks for watching this video.
So there you go. I mean, and it's obviously not just one case where the guy where serial killers have all these groupies and fans and women that fall in love with them. It's pretty much every high profile case high profile serial killer will have hundreds of women swooning over them, falling in love with them. The most famous one is probably the Ted Bundy, because they made a series on Netflix, and women were like getting like wet over it. Women were like swooning over it, saying how hot Ted Bundy was, or the character. Miguel in the house, what is up? Yeah, it is. It is an interesting topic. It's just kind of an important. It's good to remind yourself of what women can actually be like. What they can actually be attracted to when it's nice guys really need to see this kind of material. Guys that see themselves as being too nice really need to kind of understand that there's a lot of women out there that are attracted to this kind of thing. And these are only the women that admit it. These are the only the women that come forward and do it. A lot of women will restrain themselves from actually taking action or writing a letter or but secretly deep down they'll act. This is what a lot of women would be attracted to. And maybe not even serial killer. It might be just they might be attracted to a guy with the potential for violence. It mightn't be so bad as they're like getting wet over a guy that is a serial killer. But at least they're attracted to a guy that's dangerous or like has the potential to be dangerous. Javier says that's ironic, but a sad ending. Yeah, to the guy that was a serial killer and then killed the woman that he moved in with. She paid the ultimate price for her stupidity, really. So you can't really feel you really can't feel sorry for someone like that. Like I said, people that show compassion to evil people are almost, just as bad in a way. It's like it's almost, when it's sometimes very annoying when people are too compassionate. It's like, especially to people that don't deserve compassion. When someone has done something really bad and you see someone being too nice to them. It's kind of like when parents kind of coddle their children too much, the children can grow up to turn out like shit because the parents didn't have a stern enough, didn't bring them up with enough discipline. I've seen that happen to people, guys I grew up with, where parents were too, it's like too not, I don't want to say too nice, but they were just like, they let the kids walk over them and just didn't show enough discipline. And then the kids, they grew up and they turned out like shit, and their lives aren't very good. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not good to be too compassionate to people who don't deserve compassion. And there's a lot of people that don't deserve it. But yeah, let's check the other one. Speaking of the Ted Bundy one, I saw another one, so I'll share that. All right, so yeah.
So many people have been swooning over Netflix documentaries about serial killer Ted Bundy that Netflix tweeted a reminder that there are thousands of alleged hot men on their service who are not convicted serial murderers. Now, Zach.
So it got so bad, that so many women were getting wet over this Ted Bundy. So I haven't even watched it, but apparently a lot of women were getting their panties in a twist over Ted Bundy, that they had to read write this tweet because it was getting kind of out of hand. Or it's like imagine you were a relative of one of the women that got cut up and tortured and murdered, raped, really the most kind of sadistic things you can do to a human, really.
Efron also portrays Bundy as a charmer in a new movie, but one woman who survived an attack by Bundy says she doesn't have a problem with that because he used his charm to lure his victims. Mm-hmm.
That's just what this kind of woman doesn't, she doesn't have a problem with people swooning and getting wet over a guy that tortured people before torturing them, raping them, before killing them. This is a good example of a person who is kind of, I don't know, you should have a problem with it, really. But
so we know what a monster he was. Why do you think women are still attracted to this man? Now he was. When you think of serial killers, you never think of a good-looking guy that you would be a pinup, but this guy was really attractive and women were drawn to him.
Well, I think that I was reading a study about this, and they were saying that some studies show that good-looking people, because they get so much attention, and people like them automatically because they're good-looking, because people are very superficial, basically.
Right.
They have a lower crime rate because they
get away with
accepted in the society, and they don't have to commit
because they're more attractive.
But the ugly ones.
But if they're sociopaths.
This reminds me of the guy that did the the Tinder experiment, where he put up these photos of a really good-looking male model, and he wrote things like he matched with 90% of women. And the first things he would say was like, in his profile he was writing about how he was a convicted pedophile, and he served time, and he wrote the most horrible things, and he would still match with a lot of hot women, and these women were willing to come directly to his house for sex, and it's just unbelievable. So yeah, it is true that good looking people kind of get a pass.
Doesn't matter what if you're a sociopath, that doesn't make much sense.
So now you're talking about nurture-based versus nature, like those triplets we were talking about.
No, I'm talking about folks who maybe have a little something off that makes them think that murder is the way to go.
Well, it's possible that they have been treated badly as children, very badly, very, very badly, and they become serial killers.
Right.
Well, but what's interesting about this is that the
serial killers.
He's not the only good-looking serial killer. No. Jeffrey Dahmer was pretty good looking.
Yes.
Then there was Richard Ramirez, handsome guy.
Because they charm
and a guy named Paul John
Let that be known. No, but they are pretty attractive.
And the Menendez brothers are very attractive.
Yeah, but they weren't serial killers.
They killed their parents, But then they said they were awful.
You see this conversation we're having? No. They're not serial killers. No, they just killed their parents. I mean, come on.
And then they got married in prison. But listen to this. There is an official term for lusting after people with a criminal record, and it's known as hybristophilia. Hybristophilia, and it's a lesser-known sexual behavior in which individuals find themselves lusting after those who have committed criminal acts. And in fact, studies have found that unattractive defendants are more likely to be found guilty by juries than those that are good looking. They get prison sentences.
Hybristophilia sounds like men are attracted to women with high boobs.
You would think.
So this kind of is an interesting point where, you know, chicks will treat, like, you know, alpha guys completely different to, you know, beta guys. So an alpha guy, a guy that's good looking, like Chad, like muscular, tall, he can say something to a woman, and then a beta guy can come along and say the exact same thing, and, you know, she'll freak out and call the guy, you know, kick up a stink about the guy sexually harassing her, you know, doing all this kind of crazy stuff. But she'll let, you know, she'll be all excited about the alpha guy, you know, whatever, you know, he can get away with it. Remember, I was on a date with a girl one time, and she said, I asked her, you know, had she ever been to this club? And she said, oh yeah, I went there once, but didn't really like it. And I was like, why didn't you like it? And she was like, well, this guy, he was like, I was walking up the stairs and he grabbed my ass, and, you know, I was like, okay, well, you know. And then she was like, oh, well, you know, he wasn't even good looking. And I was like, what's that got to do with it? And she was like, well, you know, if he was good looking, you know, I would have let him away with it. You know, it might have been, I couldn't believe she's just openly saying this to me. Yeah, just like, oh yeah, like if he was good looking, it's fine. Like, but, and she admitted it. We're like, you know, yeah, she was a really, and yeah, she was a very annoying girl actually, but she's kind of hot. But anyway.
Great, but no.
Yeah, but this guy,
a real thing. Why are you looking at me, Joe?
this guy,
It's a real thing.
Well, she knew she couldn't look over here because it's all on the floor.
She has no Hybristophilia.
but this guy does look like Zac Efron, Ted Bundy. So people that are criticizing it, I'm dying to see this documentary, but I would hope that it
Don't
would
use that phrase.
I think
She's dying to see this documentary. She's obviously like, you know, her panties are getting wet already at the thought of it. Yeah.
Documentary.
It's a
fictionalized.
whatever. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
But I would rather the character portray him as people remember him. If you said one of the women that was brutally attacked by Bundy says she doesn't mind the depiction because she wants people to understand the charm and allure that he had.
Now, you watched Bonnie and Clyde, and you look at Warren Beatty, you think, hey, I want Clyde Barrett to come after me. But in fact, he was not that attractive.
Yeah. I heard he had erectile dysfunction also.
Who?
Not
Clyde
Warren
Barrett.
Beatty.
Where do you get your stats, Joy?
She knows all sorts of interesting facts.
She heard he had erectile dysfunction, so, you know, that's unfortunate. That's that makes it less exciting for them. These women are hilarious.
Clyde. Not Warren.
Oh, yeah.
No, Warren had the opposite.
She knows all sorts of interesting facts.
See, these women know about it. These women have read up probably, you know, even these, supposedly normal women have read up a lot probably about serial killers.
You're assuming they're facts.
Well,
but yeah, it's interesting. It's good to just remind yourself that there's a lot of women out there that are attracted to those dark sides, you know, the dark side of human nature. And it's especially good to remind yourself of it when, you know, you're doing a cold approach, or you're trying to work up the courage to approach a woman to get her number or whatever. You know, you just remind yourself that there's thousands of women that send love letters to serial killers. That will kind of give you the courage to just be a little more cocky, a little just not give a shit, be a little more disrespectful, be a little more, just take more risks, because the reality is women's pussies dry up when a guy is too nice to her. It just shows weakness. Javier says, breaking rules for alphas, making rules for beta in that last statement by the black female. Yeah, that's exactly it. Making, chicks make rules for, beta guys. Like they make rules, they make the beta guys take them out on dates. They make the beta guy, ultimately a lot of beta guys won't even get laid. They'll just get used for their resources. They'll get used for free attention. They'll get put in the friend category. That's what guys need. I don't have any female friends. I only have, acquaintances. I'm not so autistic where I'd be like, oh, I can't, be friendly with any females unless I'm smashing. But I definitely wouldn't consider them a friend, because I'm always going to be, any females I'm around, it's like I'm going to be trying to smash, at least. And if not, it's just not worth it, because women will throw you under the bus sooner than men will. And I'm not saying men won't do it as well. There's like tons of beta guys out there that will throw you under the bus, stab you in the back, do all that. But women just kind of, I think, what was it that Tomasi said? He had a good quote that I want to find. Yes, so the reason this is Rolla Tomasi, the reason men and women cannot be friends is because we both hold different concepts of friendship that we base on our same-sex friendships. Men are far more accommodating of female behavior. They would come to blows over had their male friend done the same. So, men basically let women away with, a lot of men let women away with, disrespectful behavior, and especially blue pill guys. Whereas if one of their guy friends did it, there'd be, things would go to blows. Things would not be so civil. Another one of his quotes is, women have boyfriends and girlfriends. If you're not fucking her, you're her girlfriend. That's so true. That's why when guys come to me, there's nothing more annoying for me when a guy comes to me and another friend even comes telling me about his problems with a girlfriend. I don't mean a girlfriend. I mean, something that he claimed, if a friend comes to me and tells me about, one of my friends was did this, that, and the other, and it's like it turns out to be a girl, I'm like, what the? You're calling, you don't have girlfriends, you have acquaintances, you have female acquaintances, and if you're going around complaining about, how some chick, one of your female friends, what she did to you, you deserve whatever's coming to you, because first of all, you shouldn't be claiming that women are your friend, because personally I just don't believe, I don't believe in true friendship between men and women. If she's anyway attractive, guys are going to want to fuck, so it's not a real friendship. You shouldn't want to fuck your friends. That's not the way friendship works. If there's any hint of you wanting to fuck your friend, and you're not friends, right? You're just not. Let me see if there's another one. Yeah, there's one more. I'll share that. Okay.
And she raises a question of, why do women love serial killers? Hi, Hi, this is Kristen Conger from Stuff Mom Never Told You, guest hosting for D News. And this particular attraction or fetish for violent murderers is known as Hybristophilia, aka the Bonnie and Clyde effect. And Manson is not the only known serial killer who has stoked these darker passions. Hybristophiliacs have flocked to other infamous killers as well, including the admittedly handsome Ted Bundy, whose courtroom was filled with ogling admirers, and the not so handsome John Wayne Gacy, who was not only convicted of killing more than 30 young boys, but also met his wife while awaiting the death penalty. Convicted serial.
So John Wayne Gacy was convicted of killing more than 30 young boys, and he still met a wife. I think that wife deserves, the woman he met, she should get the death penalty too.
Serial killer and rapist Richard Ramirez also married a groupie of his while serving time in San Quentin. And there are even some serial hybristophiliacs like Sandra London, known as the queen of killer groupies, who have pursued multiple men behind bars. So, what gives with these usually women attracted to such dangerous men? Well, experts say that reasons include things like being drawn to their bewilderment and loneliness. Others might be intrigued by this dark celebrity aspect, and practically speaking, they might derive comfort knowing that their imprisoned beloved is at prison all the time and not going out and cheating on them. And on a more sinister note, some might have even fantasized about committing violent acts or even murder, and so this might be a form of vicariously acting through them. But though women might flock to serial killers, that does not mean that serial killers make the best boyfriends, women. For instance, Charles Manson's girlfriend Star says that she and Manson will be getting married, to which the convicted psychopath told Rolling Stone magazine, "That's a bunch of garbage. You know that, man." So have you ever been attracted to the criminally dangerous type or know someone who has? Tell me about it in the.
So yeah, I mean, there's just no doubt about it. I mean, women are clearly attracted to the dark side of humanity. There's just there's just so much evidence to suggest so, and women aren't. A lot of women don't even hide it. They'll openly tell us. But at the same time, they'll contradict themselves and say that they want the nice, loving, sweet guy. But it's just important to understand the reality is that they're attracted to the dark side of men, and that's obviously not not giving. That's not an excuse to say, oh yeah, you should be evil and commit acts, illegal acts, and that's not it. But it's just good to know when, especially for the guys that are too nice to women or just too nice in general, they need to develop more of an edge or become less caring, because you're just going to get disrespected, walked on. These women don't respond well to guys that are putting them on a pedestal. The girls really want to put you on it. Women really want to put men on a pedestal. They want to look up to a strong alpha guy that makes decisions. Basically they don't want to make any decision. They want even when it comes to arranging a date, if you go leaving decision making up to women, then you're going to be that's starting off on the wrong foot. You got to be just making decisions and not leaving anything up to these chicks. They'll just get pissed off if you try and let them make the decision, even if it's somewhere like. I love girls that get irritated. Like they'll get irritated if I ask them where they want to eat. They'll be like, they're implying that I should be making that decision. Or even when it comes down to banging, I remember one time, just as an experiment, obviously when it comes down to having sex, it's it's implied consent. So it's not like I'm not getting out my consent forms and like, can you sign the dotted line before we do the deed? I need your consent, Mrs. No, I don't do that. So it's not. I don't. You don't even ask. Oh, and can I have sex with you now? Is it all right if I put my penis inside you? It doesn't go like that, and everyone knows that. But one time I was just like, I said to her, "So can I fuck you now?" And she was just like, she was like irritated by me, because like I just did it kind of as an experiment, because like I obviously knew she wanted me to fuck her. We were, she was making those moaning sounds and she's totally into it. But when I asked her, she was like, "Why are you asking me that? Like, why?" Like, she was irritated by it. She was annoyed by it. And then, you get all these, I know it's just, anyway, I still fucked it. And, but it was interesting because, it's obviously all the woke media and stuff tell us that you need to get verbal consent. You need to get the consent of the lady before you insert the penis into the, it's just such a turnoff for women. It's such a turnoff. If you go, hello, Mrs., you're making out with her. She's making all these noises. She's like, and you're kissing her neck, and she's like, and she's just loving it. And then you go, well, before we go any further, is it okay if I have sex with you? Yeah, and then she's like, her pussy just instantly dries up. But it's just like these. Think about it. You think like Sean Connery, the most like alpha James Bond guy. I think he's got. Is it all right if we have sex now? It's just like, it's just implied consent. You got all these dorky beta guys like, they'll just have guys. So many guys have no game now. It's just like, they'll be outside. They'll take a girl out for a meal, and he'll be like shitting his pants, like, for he obviously wants to take the girl home and have sex, but guys with no game, it's probably like the third date. He's like, well, it's my third date and it's finally my time to have sex, and he's like, yeah, and it's like, but he's still nervous. He's like, so he's like panicking, like, he's paid the bill and they're standing out, and he goes, will you come back to my house now? And then she's like, I don't know. And then she's like, why? And he's like, well, I would like to have sex with you tonight. And then she's like, maybe not tonight. And then, she leaves, she goes home, she blocks him. That's an example of guys with no game. You just go with the flow. You don't go like, you just kill the mood if you just start, getting verbal consent. Oh, yeah. But I don't know. Jay Rolander says, John's body language mastery course is about learning how to read women without explicitly asking them. Yeah, exactly. And it is very, very important to be able to read female body language and be able to understand when you get, implied consent. And it's, once you've slept with, it's all about experience. Once you start sleeping with them, you understand. I mean, it's like, as long as you're not like autistic or have some serious, social problems, social skills, you're not able to read people, then, you'll understand, you'll learn this stuff. But yeah, exactly. John's body language mastery course will teach you all that. For the guys that don't have that much experience. But yeah, it is important because nothing kills the mood more than explicitly asking. It's just like women don't want to make the first move. Women don't want to, it turns them off. Like, it turns women off to have to make the first move. You'll see a lot of, even on dating apps, so chicks will be like, I don't I don't message guys. You know, I don't like to message guys. They don't want to take the initiative in any way, shape, or form. They want guys to chase them. That's what turns women on. Women get turned on by guys pursuing them. And especially if you're a high value guy, that boosts your ego and whatnot. You know, if you're not a high value guy and you pursue women, it's like an insult to a woman. She gets angry. That's why women can be very harsh, very insulting, very cold, very rude. Like you know, some guys think, you know, women, you know, take it too far, like they overreact. You know, they're just really mean or really bitchy. It's because, you know, if a man approaches a woman and the woman deems the man to be less than her worth or whatever, she'll be like, it's like a punch, it's like a slap to her, you know. So, and the problem these days is that, you know, a lot of women's, their egos have been kind of inflated, so they have a false sense of you know, they think they basically think they're higher value than they actually are. But Jay Rolander says Sterling Cooper notes that asking girls about their limits kills attraction. It absolutely kills attraction. They don't want to be asked, you know. They just want to be dominated. They just want to be, you know. And that's where coming in, you know, understanding body language really is important, because, you know, you need to understand when a girl does and doesn't want to do something, you know. But it's pretty obvious when a girl is horny and wet and she's having a good time, you know, she'll be usually just by this. The easiest way to understand when a girl really wants to have sex is when she's like responding like really erotically to your advances, to your kisses. Girls make noises, like noises of pleasure, you know, and you know, you know, when girls don't want to have sex, they make an excuse and they leave your house. That's what happens there. You know, they say they got to catch the last train. They say they got work tomorrow. They say they're on their period. They'll make an excuse, you know. Yeah, and that's the way it is. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this episode. Yeah, like share this content around. I mean, you know, YouTube's kind of throttling me. Like I said, I don't know why they didn't put up that episode where I talked about, you know, where women have gotten what they want and they hate it. I think it was episode 46. I don't know, it just didn't, but they didn't upload it. Didn't get any notification, didn't get anything. Just really sneaky. I really hate like this kind of sneakiness of shadow banning and kind of, it's really annoying. But that's kind of the world we live in. As usual, like, comment, subscribe. I will be back tomorrow night for another episode of Player Life. All right, so I'll catch you then. Bye bye.